2025-26 Premier League Team of the Season. Now, this was suggested to me by one of my subscribers, Luke, so thank you for the suggestion. I thought it was a good idea because, we are still very early on. I believe by the time you see this, Prem actually would have started, but before I'm recording this, actually, the Prem hasn't started, and either way, we're still in the early days of the Premier League, and maybe we could come back to this at the end of the season and see how I did when I actually built my team this season. I can sort of compare it to what I thought the team this season would be. So I'm going to build my 11. I'm also going to add a bench, and I'll also talk about some honourable mentions at the end. Now the way I've done this is some players, it's very obvious that they're probably going to be in the team this season, but they're very boring. Like, I could pretty much just build the best 11 in the Premier League. Like, that's probably going to be the team this season, right? Now, some players I have included, like the boring picks, but some of them, like, as you'll see, I sort of just left out because I didn't want to make it so boring, and I added in some sort of fun picks who, they might not actually make the team this season, but those are players who I think might actually have some really good seasons. So yeah. Anyways, let's get into it. So, goalkeeper, starting off in goal, and this one is one of those fun, rogue, random shouts I was suggesting, and you gotta hear me out on this one, because I'm actually gonna go Martin Dubravka. Yeah, okay, before you click off the video here, hear me out. Now, Dubravka has moved to Burnley, and he is their new number one. But my thinking here is Burnley's defensive record in the Championship was absolutely sensational. Absolutely sensational. They kept so many clean sheets and barely conceded any goals. Now, I don't think that defensive record will necessarily hold up in the Prem. Like, I think, they definitely going to leak a lot more goals in the Premier League compared to the Championship. But given that sort of defensive-minded football they play, I don't think they're suddenly now going to concede like 90 goals or anything. Like, I still think they're going to be fairly solid defensively compared to teams in and around that relegation area. So as a result, I do think Dubravka will naturally collect quite a few clean sheets. I also think that a lot of the defence last season was sort of just based on James Trafford getting peppered with shots and pulling off fantastic saves. And Martin Dubravka, although he's not the greatest baby on the ball, I would say Dubravka's shot-stopping ability is very good. Whenever I see him play, I think his shot-stopping is very, very good. So I think Dubravka is sort of just going to get peppered with shots this season. I think they'll keep a lot of them out. We'll probably concede quite a few, but I think he'll get a decent amount of clean sheets, and he probably won't be in the team this season, but I reckon at the end of the season we'll all be like, you know what, Dubravka can sort of hold his head up high, even if Burnley do get relegated. Okay, and at right back, a little bit more of a conventional pick here, and I've gone for Pedro Porro. Now, I think Pedro Porro, over the last couple of seasons, has been pretty decent for Spurs at right back. He's been their main fullback, and he's been pretty good. I will say he started off really well, but then the last couple of seasons he has drifted, and last year wasn't the greatest from him. But I think Pedro Porro is a really good player, and the way Ange Postecoglou played sort of, I think, exposed the fullbacks and asked a lot of the fullbacks, where Pedro Porro was playing so high at the pitch that, a lot of the time he was being asked to do so much on the ball and off the ball. He was sort of left exposed in 1v1 situations, and I just think that Ange Postecoglou's system, we saw it with a doggy on the left hand side. Both of them I think are pretty good fullbacks, but that Postecoglou system just didn't really suit them that well. And I think under Thomas Frank, under a system which maybe will offer him a little bit more protection defensively, isn't going to ask him to, be playing all the way up here and then get all the way back, isn't going to be playing with a crazy high line. I think it's going to help Pedro Porro a lot because, as I said, I think he's a really talented player. He's got great abilities. So yeah, I think Pedro Porro is going to have a really good season this year, and I think he's going to be one of the best right backs in the Premier League this year. Okay, in at centre back, I did go for one very boring pick in Virgil van Dijk. Might as well put his team this season in there. Very boring. Now, it probably will be like a Saliba or Gabriel, but this second one I went for someone a little bit, still a little bit boring, but a little bit less conventional. That is Josko Gvardiol. Now, Josko Gvardiol, this sort of does depend on where he will play next season, but I'm assuming now Ryan Aït-Nouri has been signed, Gvardiol will be playing centre-back this season for City, and I really do think a lot of people are sleeping on that Man City centre-back pairing. Gvardiol and Diaz is a really, really good centre-back pairing, and equally I could see Diaz making this team this season as well. Towards the back end of last season, Nico O'Reilly came in at left back and Gvardiol moved into centre back alongside Diaz, and I really did think they were absolutely fantastic together when I watched them play. But they complement each other really well, and while Gvardiol is pretty good as a left back, I do think he is better as a centre back. I think if he has a full season playing centre back, we're really going to see the best of Josko Gvardiol, and he's going to show why he is one of the best defenders overall in the Premier League. So yeah, assuming he actually does play a full season at centre back, I think Josko Gvardiol is going to be fantastic this year. Okay, next up, in at left back, I've gone for Marc Cucurella. Yeah, Cucurella, I think, I actually think Cucurella sort of was underrated a little bit last season, but I think it's starting now to get his plaudits, and rightfully so, because Cucurella last season was fantastic, and while he's maybe not the most flashiest fullback, he's not going to pop up like with Trent numbers and goals and assists or anything. He is just so reliable. There's not many games where Cucurella is having a bad game. Most games for us, he has given us a 7 out of 10, and he is just so good defensively. He can contribute going forward as well, and he ended last season really, really well. I think he's going to keep going this season. I think Chelsea hopefully will be better this year. I think defensively as a unit we hopefully will be better as well, which should help him a little bit more. And yeah, I think Cucurella is going to keep on improving, and as I said, I don't think a lot of people were talking about him during last season, but now people are starting to talk about him a little bit more. I think by the end of this season, most people will sort of be agreeing that yeah, Cucurella is one of the best left backs in the world, because I generally do think he is. He can do everything you really want from a left back, and no, he's not maybe the most likeable guy from a rival fan perspective, but we can't deny his quality, and I think he's going to have a really good year again. Okay, into the midfield, and first up, this is a little bit of a rogue vibesy pick here, and it is Adam Wharton. I think Adam Wharton is going to have a really good season this year if he can stay fit. I feel like people have sort of forgotten about Adam Wharton a little bit because of what happened last season, where he was injured for most of the campaign. Because before that, Wharton was looking like one of the best young midfield prospects in the Premier League. He was even being linked to some of the big clubs, and he looked really, really good. season. But he's fit again now, and I think, assuming he can stay fit, Wharton is going to once again establish himself as one of the best up-and-coming midfielders in the Premier League. Yeah, adding the bonus that Palace are playing in Europe, I think he's going to really thrive in the Conference League as well. With Eze potentially gone, with maybe Gay gone, I think Wharton is sort of now going to emerge as that star man, as that guy who people are talking about at Palace. There's always one, right? I think next season Adam Wharton is going to be that. Yeah, he's a really talented player, and this is really, if he can stay fit, he's going to be great. Alongside him in the midfield, I have a new signing, and that is Tijani Reinders. Yeah, I've spoken quite a few times now about this signing. I think Reinders is going to be an absolutely fantastic signing for Manchester City. Yeah, he was incredible for AC Milan. Every time I watch him play, he's fantastic. He's a true 8, you know, he can do everything you want from a midfielder. He can dribble, he can score, he can defend, he can pass, he can dictate the game, he can play key passes, he can really do it all in my opinion. And I think in that Man City midfield, he's sort of exactly what they've been missing. He's almost like the next sort of like Bernardo Silva, which, you know, Bernardo in his prime, which is a figure which is sort of missed. I think Reinders is going to be absolutely fantastic at Man City, and yeah, I think it's going to tear it up really. Okay, in at the cam position, another sort of boring one, but I think I've got to put him in there. Cole Palmer. Yeah, Cole Palmer. He was, in moments last season, very good. He went missing, to be fair, for like the back end of the last season, but I think he's going to get a little bit more support now. In that Chelsea front line, it's not all going to be reliant on him, which I think was one of the big problems last season. And we saw at the Club World Cup and towards the back end of last season, his performances really improved. We all know the ability he has. I'm hoping he can now, throughout the 38 game season, continue with his stellar performances. And yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic for us. Playing in the Champions League too, I think he's really going to do well there. Yeah, if he can just, you know, be a little bit more consistent over the course of the season, then Cole Palmer for me is definitely going to be in the team this season. Same thing, let me get the boring one out of the way with Mo Salah. Not even going to talk about that one. Now the other ones here. Striker again, I have gone a little bit boring. Erling Haaland. Yeah, just a goal scoring machine. I think Man City are going to be much better this year, so he should get much more service. And I mean, almost like he still got like 26 goals last season. So imagine what he's going to do in an actually good Man City team. Now left wing, I've gone a little bit rogue, and that is Eberechi Eze. Now, at the time of recording, I don't actually know where Eze is going to be playing next season. But either way, I don't actually think it's going to affect this pick, because Eze, at the back end of last season, was absolutely sensational. He was generally one of the best players in the Premier League towards the end of last season. And on his day, he can be one of the best attackers in the Premier League. He is so good. Now, as I said, I don't know if he's staying at Palace or not. If he stays at Palace, I think he's just going to continue that as the star man. He's going to be absolutely sensational. If he moves and goes to a big six club, whether that be a Spurs or an Arsenal, I still think he's going to absolutely tear it apart, if I'm being honest. Assuming he actually starts, I think Eze can definitely cut it at a big six club. He's such a good player, such a talented player, and I think if he does play with better players around him, we might even see the best of him. We might see him get even better, because I mean, we've even seen England. For England, he plays very well with better players around him, so whether he stays at Palace or not, I think Eze is going to have a fantastic season. Right, let's go on to the bench, and backup goalkeeper is probably who's going to be in the team this season, and that is David Raya. Yeah, I mean, Arsenal going to keep a lot of clean sheets, aren't they? Perhaps the best team defensively in the Premier League. Yeah, naturally, Raya is going to be probably the team this season goalkeeper. My backup centre-back, I've gone really rogue, and this is just a really fun out there shout. It's probably going to be absolutely awful. It is Diego Coppola. Diego Coppola for Brighton. New signing for Brighton from the Serie A, and he's a young up-and-coming centre-back, and I think he is going to be fantastic for Brighton. I've seen him play quite a few times actually in the Serie A, and I will tell you, when I've seen him play, he looks absolutely incredible, and a lot of the big Serie A clubs were after him. He's sort of seen as the future centre-back of the Italian national team. I mean, it's a signing that's really gone under the radar, if I'm being honest. I know there's always one sort of Brighton breakout star. I think potentially Coppola could be that, with maybe Van Heck leaving. I think he could emerge as a starting centre-back for them and be really good. Now I could be completely wrong here because Brighton have so many players, he might not even play this season, but that's just all of my fun rogue shout. Anyways, Jurgen Timber, obvious reasons again, like I said, Arsenal, perhaps the best team defensively in the Premier League. I thought Timber was really good last year. I think he's going to carry that on this season. New signing, Ryan Aït-Nouri. There we go. Ryan Aït-Nouri, I think it's going to be fantastic for Man City. He started off pretty well at the Club World Cup. Going forward, absolutely amazing. I worry about him a little bit defensively speaking, but I think it's going to rack up a ton of goal contributions. Going to get so many assists next season for Man City as a sort of flying fullback. Another boring shout, but Declan Rice obviously is going to be in and around the conversations. Same thing with another sort of boring shout, Bruno Fernandes. Probably going to have an even better season, surely, with better players around him, and surely being in a better Man United team. Bukayo Saka, another boring one. A little bit more of an out there one, I'm going to go Omar Marmoush. Omar Marmoush for Manchester City, I think is going to be fantastic. He joined in January, and let's not forget he was really good actually for Man City and already became a pretty key player for them in just 6 months, joining mid-season. I think with a full season, he's had 6 months to settle into the team, learn the surroundings, learn the team, learn the tactics. I think a full season now of Omar Marmoush is looking a little bit scary because he is a really good player. Like I said, he looked fantastic in just those 6 months at City. I think he's going to have an incredible season this year. Another player who looks set for an incredible season is João Pedro. João Pedro for Chelsea. Yeah, João Pedro, he looks very good, doesn't he? He started life at Chelsea the best way possible. He was insane at the Club World Cup. And yeah, he looks fantastic, doesn't he? He looks like the sort of striker Chelsea have been missing these last couple seasons. A ruthless finisher in front of goal. I think if, Cole Palmer can have a good season, he's going to get plenty of chances, and I mean, if he just carries on what we've seen so far, then he will definitely be in the team this season for sure. Alright, now that was sort of my squad. Now I'm going to get into some sort of honourable mentions here. So, obviously could go like Matt Sells for Nottingham Forest, was sort of in there last year, could easily be in there again. I also think Bafode Diakate, who has joined Bournemouth, could potentially be a rogue shout. Sort of the Dean Howson Zabanya replacement maybe could do something. I don't know if as good as him. Maybe Reece James, I was very tempted to put in at right back, but it's definitely dependent on if he stays fit. If he stays fit, I think he'll definitely be in the team this season, but can't rely on him. Frank Bonker, guess obviously could easily put them in. Anthony Robinson, Murillo, Milenkovic, pretty much all Nottingham Forest defenders I could easily put in, but I think they'll slightly regress this season. Same thing with Everton defenders like a Jared Branthwaite, obviously Saliba, Gabriel Canate, all of those guys. Same thing with like the obvious ones like Caicedo, Rodri, McAllister, etc. I also do think Lucas Bergvall could have a good year for Spurs, and also another sort of rogue one actually is James McAtee for Nottingham Forest. I think McAtee is a really good player, and I think he could be one Man City look back on and regret selling, because I think he's going to do fantastic at Forest. Mohamed Kudus, I think is going to be great for Spurs too, as is Solanke. Anton Semenyo could have another great year. A bit of a sort of, it's going to go either two ways, is Kevin Schade. I feel like with Wizard and Bomo gone, Schade is either maybe going to step up as the main man and be incredible, or he's just going to completely fall off the cliff. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's. Oh yeah, and of course, like someone like Watkins or Acuna or Mbeumo could easily be in there. But yeah, that is my team. Some fun ones in there, some rogue ones, and some pretty bangers in there. So let me know your teams in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like. Consider subscribing. I'll see